Good evening. I'm Spot On Weather meteorologist Matthew Euler, and welcome to tonight's video. This is the weather map discussion for 29 August 2022. Looking at the satellite and radar images for this evening, the 29th of August, we see an extensive area of colder cloud tops from lower Michigan southwestward into northern Indiana and central Indiana, central Illinois, parts of southern Missouri, and also right on down into Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma City area, as well as parts of the Texas Panhandle. And this cloudiness is in association with a cold front that is moving through this particular part of the United States this evening. Additionally, we have some colder cloud tops over the Gulf Stream across the western Atlantic Ocean. We do see a few colder or higher cloud tops across parts of central Florida, including the Orlando area. Additionally, there is an area of enhanced colder cloud tops across parts of northern New York State. And one other feature I like to note here is there are some higher cirrus clouds, colder cirrus clouds, which are spilling over the top of this massive ridge, upper level ridge, across the western United States. Looking at the radar image on the right, showing very well the radar returns, precipitation returns from the various Doppler weather radars across this portion of the United States, from Detroit southwest into parts of Ohio, Indiana, south central Illinois, parts of southeastern Missouri, northern Arkansas, central Oklahoma, and right on down into that Texas Panhandle area. And again, this is an association of a warm, moist air mass out ahead of a cold front which is slowly sagging or moving toward the southeast. There is some scattered thunderstorm action, showers and storms across parts of central Florida this evening as well. The western United States, you're not seeing any returns of any type of precipitation out there, again, because of this massive upper level ridge. And beneath upper level ridges, we typically see dry weather. Looking at the surface analysis for 29 August 2022, again, we have a lot of ridging or higher surface pressures across parts of Idaho into Montana and Wyoming this evening. We do see the frontal boundary, as I previously mentioned on the satellite imagery. The surface analysis was a little bit earlier than the satellite image. So now this front has sagged a little bit further to the southeast, generally from lower Michigan across parts of Indiana, south central Illinois, into Missouri, and then into parts of Oklahoma. So this front, since I captured this image from NOAA for the surface analysis, this front is now positioned further to the southeast. But generally behind this cold front, we're seeing some cooler and drier air. For example, Minneapolis had a temperature of 70 degrees this afternoon and a dew point of only 59. Out ahead of the front, dew points today were in the upper 70s across parts of Indiana, across parts in the 70s, also in the dew points in parts of Arkansas. And then we see an area of weak high pressure across the mid-Atlantic states today. That's generally producing that drier, fairly warm and muggy weather. A very warm, muggy air mass continues to influence the eastern United States with overall dew points into the 60s, upper 60s to lower 70s across a wide swath of the eastern U.S., the eastern seaboard in particular. Looking at the 300 millibar wind speed forecast at 30,000 feet above the ground. Now, this is typically where we look for that jet stream. What we're looking for tomorrow, Tuesday, 30 August, this is Tuesday morning on the left, Tuesday evening on the right, showing this massive long wave ridge. Whenever you see a jet configuration, the core of the jet stream, more of an upside shaped U pattern, beneath this upside down shaped U pattern or ridge, we have very dry air, and we also have very warm air, hot air in fact, across portions of the Pacific Northwest and across parts of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. We do see a lot of wind energy, higher wind speeds with these oranger colors, these orange colors here, across parts of, this would be Saskatchewan province on into Manitoba province, where we're having some very strong winds spill over the top of the upper level ridge axis, right on down into portions of Minnesota, eastern Iowa, northern Illinois, and Wisconsin. So the winds are really blowing pretty strong up at 30,000 feet or 300 millibars. And ahead of this long wave trough, which extends from Lake Michigan southward into the Illinois-Indiana border, right on down into parts of western Kentucky, we do see another area of stronger winds, another jet max or jet streak, generally from the southwest out ahead of that long wave trough axis into parts of lower Michigan and southeastern Canada. We see the common features this time of year with the Bermuda Ridge or Bermuda High at upper level ridge showing up nicely at 300 millibars across the western Atlantic. We look at the 300 millibar wind speed forecast for Tuesday evening, 30 August. We see quite a jet max here, generally on the order of 120 to 126 knot winds that are spilling on the eastern side downstream of this long wave ridge, which extends quite far to the north in latitude across parts of Alberta, with a long wave ridge axis in Alberta by tomorrow evening. And we do see very strong jet max or accelerated region of air within that polar front jet stream core. And again, those stronger winds will pivot down into parts of Wisconsin, Michigan, and parts of northern Indiana by Tuesday evening. Very light winds further south at 300 millibars across the Gulf Coast, Texas, general southern plain states as well. And then we also see that Bermuda Ridge once again reflecting quite well all the way up to 300 millibars. Look at the 500 millibar wind heights and vorticity for 30 August 2022. We see the Tuesday morning map on the left and the Tuesday evening map on the right. And we do see a shortwave trough that extends from Lake Superior right down through Lake Michigan, across portions of northeastern Illinois, northwestern Indiana. This is the expectation. The shortwave trough is going to move through the area Tuesday morning. There is a closed upper level ridge or high, 594 decameters, in fact, across parts of Utah and Colorado. And that ridge axis, that shortwave ridge axis, is extending all the way north into Alberta province of Canada. Looking over the western Atlantic Ocean on Tuesday morning, we have some shortwave ridging occurring in association with the subtropical high. Looking at the Tuesday evening, 30 August forecast, 500 millibar wind heights and vorticity, we do see that shortwave trough pivot to the east, generally lifting out to the east-northeast. By evening, it's going to be located the trough axis across parts of southeastern Canada, dipping its way southward into parts of eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania, right on down into West Virginia. That's where you're going to have the vorticity, the positive vorticity values right ahead of that shortwave trough axis, and a sprawling upper level ridge of 594 decameters. This thing is just in charge right now out in the western U.S., that shortwave ridge axis extending well to the north into the Alberta province of Canada. So this is going to be the main theme of the coming days. An upper level ridge across the western U.S. extending northward into Canada, into western Canada, and a trough downstream. Looking at the 700 millibar vertical velocity and heights for Tuesday, 30 August 2022, Tuesday morning on the left and Tuesday evening on the right. Generally showing a similar positioning. We do see that shortwave trough extending from southern Canada right on down through Lake Michigan, right on that trough axis through northern Indiana, right on down through southern Illinois, southwestern Indiana. There is that very strong reflection of an upper level ridge, closed high, upper high, across the Utah and Colorado area with a shortwave ridge axis extending well north into Alberta province of Canada on Tuesday morning. And that really continues. That really continues. On Tuesday evening, we have upper level ridge extending north. We have a little bit of a downstream troughing with the height contours. That shortwave trough is going to extend from Hudson Bay, Canada, down through parts of southeastern Canada into parts of far eastern, northeastern Ohio by Tuesday evening. Looking at the 850 millibar wind speed forecast for 30 August with Tuesday 30 August, Tuesday morning on the left and Tuesday evening on the right. Wow, we got some strong winds, even reflecting all the way down to 850 millibars or 5,000 feet above the ground on the front side of that massive upper level ridge. In fact, the wind speeds across parts of Manitoba, as well as parts of Ontario, are really, really roaring. The winds are really, really roaring, 42 to 50 knot winds at 850 millibars, generally from the northwest on the front side of that ridge axis. We also see some gustier winds, anywhere in the order of 22 to 27 knots across parts of the upper Midwest, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Michigan. By Tuesday evening, we see a very strong wind speeds at 850 millibars there, just on the southwestern side of Hudson Bay, Canada. And we do see also some very strong winds across parts of Ontario province of Canada. And those winds then, northwesterly winds at 850 millibars, are a little bit gusty, basically from the UP of Michigan down through Detroit. Parts of Pennsylvania, New England states get a little bit breezier as well, with winds above 20 knots by Tuesday evening. Looking at the surface wind speed forecast for Tuesday 30 August 2022, Tuesday morning on the left, Tuesday evening on the right. Generally showing at the surface, we do have a little bit of gustiness to the winds from the northwest across Minnesota and Wisconsin. But elsewhere, really, down to the surface, we really don't see a lot of very strong wind speeds, maybe a pocket of higher wind speeds across Lake Superior there, in excess of 20 knots on Tuesday morning. By Tuesday evening, again, we see most of the surface winds and the strength of those stronger surface winds well to the north of the U.S. border into parts of Hudson Bay, Canada. Looking at the precipitation forecast for Tuesday 30 August 2022, if you got travel plans, here's Tuesday morning, here's Tuesday evening. So if you got travel plans along Interstate 80 from western PA into parts of Ohio, or you're driving along Interstate 70 in Ohio on Tuesday morning, make sure you have those wipers ready to go. Additionally, as you're moving west on Interstate 70 and also Interstate 65 around the Indianapolis area, looking like some showers could occur on Tuesday morning. Right on down into southern Illinois, Interstate 64 across Kentucky could also be a wet go, right on into southern Illinois. Additionally, we're looking at the area of eastern Texas, Interstate 10, Interstate 20, Interstate 35 as well. Some scattered showers and thunderstorms on Tuesday morning. And then the other pocket of heavier showers and storms will remain off the southeast coast. Looking at Tuesday evening, got travel plans. Generally got these higher thickness values in association with the ridge, looking dry along the western interstate systems, Interstate 5, as well as Interstate 40 across portions of Arizona, Interstate 80 as well. We do see some scattered showers and storms across West Texas, the Florida Peninsula, as well as just ahead of that cold front up across parts of New York State down into Pennsylvania, West Virginia by Tuesday evening. Looking at the forecast high temperatures for Tuesday 30 August 2022. Look at beneath this ridge out in the western U.S. We see high temperatures well in excess of 90. In fact, some of these high temperatures in eastern Washington State, eastern Oregon, southern Idaho could exceed 100 degrees on Tuesday. And we even have some hotter temperatures along the Interstate 5 corridor across parts of Washington State and Oregon. Across the Sacramento Valley as well, very, very hot, and also down into southeastern California, the deserts. There, Palm Springs, for example, a high of 112, Las Vegas 107, and then Phoenix 110 tomorrow. Ooh, that's hot. Generally, we also have hotter temperatures across eastern Montana, highs in the lower 90s, southeastward into Kansas, Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas, and anywhere south of Interstate 40 here in the Mid-South, you're looking at high temperatures in the lower 90s, and then all the way up Interstate 95 as well. It's going to be a very hot and muggy day ahead of that approaching cool front, which is coming in from the west. High temperatures all the way up into the 90s, low 90s, up into parts of Massachusetts and Vermont. Looking at the low temperature forecast for Wednesday morning, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, 31 August. The cooler temperatures, these are pleasant. This is an indicator that fall is coming, folks. Low temperatures in the lower 50s for a good swath of the northern plain states by Wednesday morning, 31 August. And the warmest temperatures generally south of Interstate 40 across the deep south, Gulf Coast states, and Florida. where the overnight lows will remain in the 70s. But you go north of Interstate 80 here across parts of Nebraska and Iowa, and it's looking very pleasant. Interstate 90, 94, Interstate 35 to Minneapolis, looking very pleasant with lows in the 50s by Wednesday morning. Now let's take a look at the quick update on the tropics across the Atlantic. Generally what we're looking at now, this area, I just checked the recent update on this from National Hurricane Center. It is now down to a 0% chance for development over the next 5 days. So this one has pretty much become null at this point. But this one is the one to watch. The orange X down here, well to the east of the Leeward Islands. There's an 80% chance of tropical development with this particular system. And I'll show you the model outputs from 12Z today here on the next slide. Generally, here is that feature. I don't have it in motion, but it does have a little bit of a spinning motion to it. Just not very organized yet at this point, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, these are the different models, the operational models from the 12Z run today. This is based off 12Z, 29 August model data. So I have GFS on the left, Canadian in the middle, and the European on the far right. And look at the differences in these models. GFS is most intense out of all the models, 957 millibar low. Also a little bit farther to the northeast than the other models. The Canadian in the middle here is closest to agreement as far as emplacement to the European. They're very similar in their positioning on the 5th of September, this upcoming Labor Day at 12Z. And then the European, this is the 12Z run from today, the operational run. It's pretty much got a lot weaker, so we'll have to see if this thing actually develops. It could be fighting some upper level wind shear, which tends to rip apart these type of systems. Also could be fighting off some dry air. So there's a lot of uncertainty regarding this system, whether it gets developed, if it does get developed, how strong does it get, as well as where does this track. Now, taking a look at the track as of the midday models today, pretty much all of them are showing it make a hard right hook out to sea. GFS is showing that right hard hook or turn out to sea. Canadian the same, and the European the same. Now looking at the latest Climate Prediction Center, 6 to 10 day temperature and precipitation outlook for the United States. Generally, parts of California and Nevada, southern Idaho, and northwestern Utah have the greatest probability of above normal temperatures. Now, the greatest probability then extends further to the northeast into Montana and Wyoming. So the western U.S., the upper level ridge looks to remain fairly persistent right on through the 8th of September. Below normal temperatures across parts of Texas. And then also we have above normal probability of temperatures for Florida as well as parts of the mid-Atlantic, right along the I-95 corridor up through parts of D.C., Baltimore, Philly, as well as New York City up to Boston. Good probability of above normal temperatures over the period 4 to 8 September. Looking at the precipitation outlook on the right, not only do we have the heat across the western U.S., but it is going to be dry. Higher probability of below normal precip from Idaho, southern Montana, Wyoming, into parts of the Dakotas, as well as northwestern Nebraska, with the wettest conditions occurring across Texas, extending northeastward into the mid-south, including the Memphis, Tennessee area. And then looking closer to home, Hampton Roads, Virginia, the next 7-day forecast. What are we looking at in the next 7 days in the Hampton Roads, Virginia cities? Tomorrow we could see an isolated PM storm, high temperature near 90. It's going to be another hot and humid day across southeastern Virginia, right out ahead of that cool front. So we could see some isolated PM storms. And then it's pretty much dry Wednesday all the way through Labor Day on Monday. General partly sunny to mostly sunny skies. And you'll notice we do see a little bit of a slight cool down by Thursday behind the cool front when the winds temporarily shift to the northeast off the water. So we could have highs mainly about 85 or so with overnight lows temporarily dropping into the upper 60s. So that'll feel kind of nice. The dew points are forecast to drop as well down into the middle 60s for a brief period at the end of the week this week. So these 85 and 86 degree reading may not feel so bad as far as lower humidity, which is going to be nice. And we do see that trend of general middle 80s for the upcoming Labor Day weekend. And right now it's looking like it's looking dry. Again, highs in the middle 80s and lows in the lower 70s. So that's the way it looks right now for Hampton Roads, Virginia. That wraps up today's video weather map discussion, as well as the forecast, the U.S. forecast, and the Hampton Roads forecast as well. U.S. forecast covering tomorrow, the 30th of August. We're starting to wind the month of August down, and we'll start to see in September, we'll be looking for those changes or those hints of more significant cool fronts coming in from Canada. And of course, we'll also have to watch these tropical systems. All right, that's all I've got for this evening. Everybody take care. Until next time, God bless everyone.